This is lesson 46, writing decimal numbers in expanded notation, part 1 for course 1. This is part 1 of this lesson, so there will be a part 2 that you'll have to watch right after this. I've just split it into two groups because it's two relatively new concepts, so we're just going to look at them separately. So this one, we're looking at expanded notation for decimals. Now remember, normally when you do expanded notation, it's something like 234, and you write 200 or 2 times 100 plus 3 times 10 plus 4 times 1, right? That's normal expanded notation that we've used before. This time we're just doing it in decimals. So what that's going to look like is we're going to have ones, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Okay, those are your place values. Now remember, for each of these place values, it literally look like this. One is a whole. Okay, that's what you'd be putting in those brackets. This one is a tenth. It's a fraction. Hundredth, thousandths. Okay, so when you're timesing it, like you times by 1, you're timesing it by the fractions of a number. So, for example, if we had the number 4 and 25 thousandths, you would write it parentheses 4 times 1 parentheses plus 2 times 100th plus 5 times 1,000th. Okay, so in that way, you're still saying the places. You just need to know that one. Now that you're in the decimal places, you're saying the places as fractions because they're no longer whole numbers. They are fractions of a number. So this is a tenth of a number, a hundredth of a number, and a thousandth of a number. Okay, so this is how you're writing decimals in expanded form. And you would have to know that, okay, this is 1, which means this is now into the decimals. So you would have to know that because of that, you need to add that decimal in. Well, there's no tenth in here. I'm not timesing anything by a tenth, so that's 0. And then 2 and 5 for their places. Let's look at one more together. All right, this one, same thing. Okay, parentheses, 5 times 1, because it is in the ones place. Adding it to, not tenths, because there's nothing there, hundredths. So 8 times hundredths place. And that's our number. And again, if you were taking this and putting it into a simplified version or into standard, then you'd be taking this and having to know that this is ones, this is decimals, so that you have to have your decimal place. And because there's nothing in the tenths column, you have to have a 0 there. So this is expanded notation for decimal numbers. Okay, remember that you need those fractions times by for each decimal number. So this is again ones, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. That is lesson 46, part 1, writing decimal numbers in expanded notation for course 1.